We were making a DVD years ago and stopped by the French police. They pulled us over and Jeremy walked up to the window, tapped on it. Yeah. And he went, "Are we going to prison?" "I think we might be, mate. Yeah." And we both got fined the amount of money we had in our pockets. That's what the fine was. We were pushing it a little bit.
Would you rather stay a night in the floating hotel in Cambodia or travel across the rickety bridge in Colombia?
Oh, you mean the old railway bridge, the very high one?
Yeah.
Well, I don't like heights. I think that's fairly wonderful. I think I'd stay in the floating hotel, which has some good things. I mean, it had nice noodles and things. It was just a bit noisy. There was an air conditioning generator above my head, and there was a band playing all night. I think somebody being drowned. But, you learn to sleep through those things.
I'm going to say, can I have a bottle of gin if I stay in the awful floating hotel in Cambodia?
Was it available in the little village?
Remember, I don't think it was. I'm going to say that because that bridge was just genuinely, if you look at the clip from that film, my leg was wobbling. And that's not like a acty, "Oh, I'm pretending I want to show you I'm scared." I was just scared.
I think I might be sick. I will get there. Crossing this bridge is just part of my journey.
Who would you rather cook your last ever meal, Clarkson or May?
Oh, no. James, he keeps doing a little cooking show, but as far as I'm aware, I can't cook. Have I ever seen Jeremy cook? I think I've seen him cook meat on like a hot piece of metal, but I have seen James do, so I'd have to give James the chance. I'd have to give him a run out and say, "Look, do some cooking for me." And then it would be awful.
I don't think, let me just think carefully. I don't think either of them has ever actually cooked me anything of significance. Hammond's done some beans. I think Clarkson may have made some toast once. Clarkson proclaims that he's good at cooking, but I've never seen it. I know that Hammond has got into it recently because he's done up a bit of his house and he's been sort of hiding away in there practicing cooking things. So, Hammond.
I mean, I suppose it would be your last meal if one of those was cooking it for me.
There's a very good chance that whenever they cook for me, it will become my last meal.
You've been pulled over by the police in a foreign land, and they won't respond to you, but they will respond to your co-hosts. Who would you rather do the talking for you to escape potential jail time, Clarkson or May?
That has happened.
Really?
Yeah, Jeremy and I were pulled over in France. We were making a DVD years ago. And oh God, we were on the auto routes, and we pulled alongside, and we just looked through the windows, and it was like and we were pulled and stopped by the French police. They pulled us over, and Jeremy walked up to the window, tapped on it. Yeah, and he went, "Are we going to prison?" "I think we might be, mate. Yeah." We were pushing it a little bit, and we both got fined the amount of money we had in our pockets. That's what the fine was.
Clarkson and Hammond did get pulled over in France once, but I wasn't with them, and they did get away with it. I think they had to pay a fine. I've been pulled over in Japan twice, actually, which is always very difficult because communication is difficult, and they see basically a gaijin in a car and they just think, what a fuckwit.
Jeremy isn't always, you'll be surprised to hear this is a secret, the most diplomatic of individuals. I know. But we were once at an airport waiting to fly to, it was Iraq. Big flight, whole team leaving, all of us. They were on the plane. I'll be honest, we'd stopped for one extra beer in the posh lounge. That's what had happened. And as we turned up, the gate was closing. Literally, the woman just closed the gate, stunk. And we said, "Oh, sorry, we're late. Can we get on?" "No, the gate's closed." "Well, yeah, but I mean, you closed it as I arrived. Can we get through it?" There's people still going, "No, the gate's closed." And we tried everything, like everything. James, no, let me appeal to your better self and your finer human nature. I was just skipping back, but we need to go on or we'll all be in trouble. Jeremy did the full, "No, I know the owner of this airline and I'll get all fired, get me on." Nothing would work. And then there was a pause. And I almost heard a click as it happened. And suddenly I looked across and Jeremy just went, please let us on the aeroplane, please. And it worked. So I'd give that duty to Jeremy in the hope that he'd, for the second time, I suspect only in his life, break out his pleading ability.
Which journey would you rather do again? Bolivia's Death Road or the worst road in the world back in Madagascar?
They're both pretty terrible roads. Well, one is dangerous, the other is tiresome, but I think I would go for Madagascar because if you put the horrors of the road surface, I mean, I wouldn't even call it a road, it's just the way people go. But if you put that to one side, the scenery and the plant life and stuff in Madagascar is so wonderful. I would quite like to go and look at it again. That's a very square answer. I love Madagascar. It's so beautiful. But we can add, and the people are so charming and the villages are so lovely, which they were actually.
Oh, God. Right, Bolivia's Death Road, which we all did, but in the film we did about it, it's many years ago now. You didn't really see James and me do it because we had to do it at night and his alternator had gone. So I was having to charge his battery and swap it out for mine so that his lights worked until it faded again. You saw Jeremy do it and it was terrifying. But it was kind of one or two moments of abject terror, whereas the road in Madagascar, combined with the car, which I'd chosen and modified and was rubbish, made for a living hell for many, many days. I was getting into a fly-infested camp at 3:00 in the morning, having tried to coax this car along this impossible road. So I think I'd rather do Bolivia's Death Road again than that road, not from nor to, but in hell.
Would you rather spend a day cooking fresh ingredients on the farm with Clarkson, or spend a week building a car from scratch with Hammond?
Well, funnily enough, I was talking about building a car with Hammond the other day. When you say from scratch, you don't mean I have to manufacture all the parts. You mean something like a Caterham or a dismantled Land Rover. So I can cook for a day using Clarkson's ingredients, or I can put a car together with Hammond. See, normally the answer to that would be put a car together with Hammond, because I quite enjoy that sort of thing, but I do like cooking as well. Jeremy would always say my cooking was terrible, even if it was the best cooking in the world, because that's sort of the rules. But I think I might go for Clarkson's farm on that one, because I think I could probably annoy him a bit.
Doesn't he only serve beef in his restaurant? That's what I took away from Clarkson's Farm season 2.
Well, I haven't actually been, so I don't know, but you could be right. Yes, I know he's always going on about the beef thing. And I think he sells it at a loss, doesn't he? Because he was saying, what are we supposed to do about this? It cost me this much to make a cow grow and I can only sell it for this. And I said, well, stop doing it then. Nobody deliberately throws money away.
Do you think he ever would stop it, do you reckon?
Farming?
Yeah.
No, well, I get the impression that he's quite into it. And then, when the rest of TV fades away, because we are all getting a bit old, I suspect he will carry on with it. I mean, he's never going to do it by himself because, he's only really started learning about it in the last few years. But I can see him being one of those slightly crusty, well, he's 90% of the way there already, let's be honest. Green jacket, brown trousers, slightly dull coloured Range Rover, pompous opinions, lets everybody know about them in the nearby pub. I think he should carry on.
Would you rather sell Oliver or sell your Suzuki GSX-R 1100?
Oh, well, the GSX-R 1100 is, for me, it's an heroic bike because it was the end of the sort of capacity race when Japan just realized, let's just make them bigger and bigger and bigger. And it was the last stupidly big capacity, small front wheel, no traction control, beast of a thing, but Oliver's Oliver. And I think I wouldn't forgive myself for selling Oliver, but also I wouldn't expect to be forgiven because I'm still amazed when I take that little car to events, as I do. Took him to the Festival of the Unexceptional last year. They love him. So I can't. People would find out, like if ever I've suggested elsewhere that I customize him or do anything to vary him from original, people get really cross. I feel like that car's public property now, not mine. So
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing considering like how long ago that was. It still
we're talking about people who were barely born.
Yeah.
And they still Love that little car. So no, I couldn't. I'd be beaten up. I couldn't do it.
So it's a Suzuki that's gone.
Has to be.
This is quite a deep one, actually. Deeper than the rest of them. If you could repeat your life, would you rather repeat every career move that you've ever made to get yourself here? Or would you pick something completely different, more out of the spotlight?
That is a difficult question because I never really picked anything. It was just what happened to me. I suppose if I could go back to, let's say, go back to the age of 12, for argument's sake, but with a bit more wisdom, because I was just hopeless and a dreamer when I was a kid, all the way up to the age of about 30, 35. I probably would do something more sensible. I'd think, right, I am going to be a mechanical engineer, or I'm going to be a teacher, or something like that, and probably stick at it, and I'd have probably been okay at it. I don't think you can't go to that age and think, right, I want to present a car show on Amazon or a cooking show on Amazon, because if you aim at it, you'll almost certainly miss. It's the job chooses you. It's not the other way around. I was talking to some young people the other day. By young, I mean sort of late teens. And they were saying to me, oh, what advice would you give? And I said, well, advice is rubbish. That's the most important bit of advice, is that advice from old people is bollocks, because the world is a very different place now, and it belongs to the young, and they're supposed to make it what it becomes. But I would say the only bit of advice I would give to young people is don't waste a single second in a job or a relationship or anything like that that you're not genuinely enjoying, because your youth is too precious. So move on. Yeah. There were dozens of times when I should have done that and I didn't, because I'd had very bad advice from old people.
Assuming Clarkson gets his restaurant up and running, would you rather go for dinner at his restaurant or May's pub?
Well, I made a promise to myself when he first got it that I would, at some point, I've never been to James's pub. I'm quite keen to go and get banned. I really want to be banned from his pub. So it'd be an opportunity to do that. I suspect that I don't want to. The food might be better at Jeremy's restaurant. Can I try and be banned from James's pub if I eat at it?
Absolutely, you can call.
I'll do that. I'll do that, but only if on the pretext that I've got to try and get banned.
That actually sounds like a video. Maybe that's what we should do next time. That would be great.
Undercover.
You're stuck in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, and you have to call either Jeremy or Hammond to rescue you. Which one would you rather call?
Well, I'm not expecting a response from either of them, to be honest. But if you mean which one do I think would be most likely to affect a successful rescue, that'd be Hammond. He's got some trousers that unzip in the middle so that they become shorts, and he's got a big penknife. He's got a hat. He quite likes all that running around in the woods type stuff. I think Jeremy would be utterly hopeless.
Well, I've had it, haven't I, really? I mean, I'm doomed. We did do one where they came to rescue me from a mountaintop in Canada. They stopped for dinner. They wouldn't fly from Gatwick. Who would I call upon to rescue me? They're neither of them overly burdened with sort of heroic survival skills. I think just Jeremy's noise could keep the insects away more than James tends to move a bit more quietly. I want some big lumbering human JCB to keep everything away. So I'd go for, if I had to choose, I'd have Jeremy rescue me from a rainforest.
1,400 miles to go across 4 countries. We're going behind what used to be the Iron Curtain.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God. I genuinely can't get out. What do you want me to do?
Be less fat.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Kevin Hart.
Hi, my name's Eric Stonestreet.
Hi, I'm Margot. I'm Journey.
I'm James McAvoy.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe.
I'm Rebel Wilson.
I'm Jeremy Clarkson.
I'm going to be translating some Scottish tweets for It's Gone Viral.
On It's Gone Viral.
Ooh. On It's Gone Viral.